Right, good morning, welcome back. Okay, front suspension lift. Just to be clear, we're not lifting it above standard ride height. This bike was lowered 2 inches a long time ago and we're lifting it up by half that. We're going back to a 25mm, a 1 inch lower instead of 2 inches. So it gets a better lean angle and the rider can still get full leg reach to the floor. So the rear was achieved by changing the shocks. The front was achieved by a 17-inch front wheel in place of the 19. That takes an inch at the axle height and an inch out of the spacers in the forks. So the rear we've already done in the last video. I'll leave a link to that at the end. We put a spacer in the bottom of the shocks. That makes it an inch taller. And on the front, well, the wheel is going to stay, but the tube in the forks, we can change that. I'm going to take out the one that's cut down and put one in that's an inch longer. It's as simple as that. Right, okay, here's the thing. Steel was used in 2013 to make the spacer tube and I just cut an inch off that. But I'm going to use today plastic for the replacement ones. Now this is plastic waste tube. It's 2mm thick. The steel's 1mm thick. And obviously I don't think that matters too much, but this is standard waste pipe. And you can buy it in the DIY store. This 6 foot length was £2.49. This is going to last me years. It will go up on the shelf and I'll still be lopping lumps off it in 10 years time. Fantastic option. Now a lot of people use plastic spacer tubes in the forks. It's very common indeed, including the factory, because these are a pair of spacer tubes from a T120 Bonneville, last year's model. 2mm thick plastic spacer tubes. Easy. So if it's good enough for the factory, it's definitely good enough for the job. Right, okay, something that's absolutely critical is that you cut them square. If you don't cut them square, especially the one that interfaces with a spring, it's going to cause the spring to cock to one side and rub against the inside of the fork tube and bind up. So it's important that that is completely square so it doesn't twist the spring inside the fork leg. A couple of ways you can do to make sure it's square is use a piece of paper to mark it, get a sheet of paper. When you wrap it round, when the corner of the paper meets the top as it wraps round, that's dead square. I'll show you in a minute. And also, when you cut it, do the old trick with a Jubilee clip. Put that round the tube in, do it up, and then it's dead square. The Jubilee clip will sit dead square. You can cut against it, and then when you've done it, you can test it and make sure that you haven't cut it on a slant. Right, there we are. That's returned the inch that I cut out of the forks previously, so they're now at full standard OEM operating length. The front is now only slightly lowered due to the 17-inch front wheel, and the rear suspension is set at the same level height now. So that's the suspension lift done. Join us for the next one, and we'll deal with that skanky bash guard. Then after that, it's just the paint, the upholstery, and the tyres, and we're done. I'll see you soon.